Nice day, isn't it? Where are you tuning in from? Have you seen me before in my kitchen? Magic occurs in here, the alchemy of love and life, surrendering to creativity, surrendering to the new. How are you doing? Thank you everyone who is supporting me in the Yoga Warrior contest. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It appears I'm in number 1 again. It also appears that I'm going to make it through to the second round. Third round, I guess. I don't know how you count the rounds. But the top 10. So they select at the end of tonight, 7 p.m. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure to vote daily, every 24 hours, and preferably the same time. What I've done is I've set an alarm on my clock, on my calendar, for, I think it's around 3 o'clock. I kind of messed up on one day. And anyway, it's just easier if you set a calendar reminder and put it through the 29th of April, because that way you get the same time every day and you kind of anticipate and you know that you're not going to forget. That's what I do. So while we're doing this, I have been playing on TikTok, of course. Today's theme, everything is about spring cleaning. In my yoga classes this week, I have been talking all about clearing and cleansing out the body, because that's what springtime is all about. It's about renewal. It's about rebirth, resurrection, blooming, blossoming, creating the new. And we all know what spring cleaning is all about, right? It's to transition, to get rid of the cobwebs, to sweep out the old, to clear it out and clean it out so that we can start anew. We can have a fresh new start, and every day is an opportunity for that. But especially right now, and I know I'm not the only one when I say this, that a lot of people are experiencing this extreme pain in many different forms. See, pain isn't just physical. Pain comes in different forms. It comes in emotional, mental, physical. It comes in the form of thoughts, memories, triggers, emotions. They all start up in here. That crazy mind, it is so clever. It can make you feel in the body, because the body's always listening, the body's always keeping score. And when you aren't aware of your thoughts, you're not in tune, then you're running kind of like that unspoken program, the habitual routine. When we are in habit, when we are just going through motions, we are at the beck and call of our own mind. We become slaves. We become enslaved to whatever it thinks is in our best interest, versus listening, going deep within and listening to our heart. The heart will never lead you astray. It's the head that gets in the way. It's the heart that will never lead you astray. It's the head that gets in the way. Because the truth is that we're all operating from unconscious programming. Stuff that happened to us from the time we were born created a belief system, a storyline, a record. We recorded memories, experiences, we witnessed things, and we took on those stories. Everything we were told, we just took it all in and we recorded it as if it was ours. Never questioning, never confronting it and asking, is this mine to carry? Is this my truth? Is this my story? Is this my pain? Many of us are carrying on someone else's pain. We've been doing it for so long, we don't even recognize ourselves. Because when you put these layers on, you create another image, another identity. It is how the world sees you, and maybe even how you see yourself. But it's how you choose to live your life. It is this unconscious programming that we have recorded programs into our software, our hard bodies, because the body is always keeping score and it's telling on the mind. So if you ever want to know what's really going on, you got everything available to you. You just got to tap into the wisdom of your body, because the wisdom of your body is where all the answers lie. It's where all the information that you need resides for you to make conscious, educated beautiful decisions in this life. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. But it's how you frame it, how you look at it, how you actually sit with it. Because most people won't sit with their minds. They will avoid, they will find distractions, ways to numb it out. Because we've been taught since youth, that we shouldn't feel pain. That it's actually programmed into us to reject pain. We are programmed to believe that pain is bad and that we're supposed to reject it and suppress it. And as a result, many of us feel ashamed when we do. You're not even supposed to acknowledge it. But it's really meant for you. It is your guidance system. It is a tool for you to navigate your way through life. It's a beautiful tool too, because without the pain, you wouldn't know your pleasure. You live in a dualistic life. Life is full of contrast, dark and light. Without the light, you wouldn't see the dark existing. The existence of the dark doesn't exist without the light. They're equally relevant and important. But when both of them are in balance with each other, neither one appears to exist, because it just is. So pain and pleasure. Pleasure, again, the pendulum. You've seen me swinging on my pendulum over here. If I'm in extreme pleasure, I might be a little bit out of balance just as much as if I'm in extreme pain. But when I am neutral and I am in the in-between, the two of them get canceled out by that neutrality because you're in balance and harmony. You can't have one without the other because they both support and give relevance to each other. It's a beautiful gift of life that pain serves pleasure and pleasure serves pain. But it's this mind that gets in between and it causes the most suffering, struggle, strife. The mind is there to serve you, to protect you, to observe what is unfolding, what is happening. The heart is the one you're meant to lead with. But because the head's up here, it thinks it's all-knowing, that it's on the pedestal of our body. Instead of being humble, to recognize it's there to be the watcher, the outlooker, the observer, to signal and to communicate with you. You need to learn to master your mind. And the best way is through mastering the breath, you know? Inhaling all that beautiful prana, that life force, and exhaling it out. Like really leaning into the fullness, the richness of life through the prana, the breath, the life force. You cannot live without prana. Spirit. Spirit, you take it in every time you breathe. The Holy Spirit comes into you and goes out of you at all times. But how many people have really appreciated, have really tuned in and tapped into the fact that the Spirit within you is with you all the time? That God, Source, all of it is in you, is a part of you. There's a huge suffering going on right now because people, they're conflicted with greatness. They're conflicted with their own relevance, their own significance, their, because of the pain people are feeling right now, we feel a disconnect. Pain is there to serve you that change is happening. A lot of the changes that we have create the pain, the mental anguish, because when change occurs, it's like a mini death, or maybe a major life change is like a major death. We're always experiencing change at all times. Change is constant. But if you're not aware of the impact that the changes have upon you, then there will be these mini outbursts or huge outbursts, these emotional waves and roller coaster rides that you feel you go on. Honor it all, because every emotion that comes in and goes out, like the flows, the waves of the ocean, they're there to remind you of your humanness, the beauty of this existence, to really just, wow, I'm choosing to feel this emotion. I'm choosing to feel this pleasure, this pain, depression, anxiety. Lean into it. Look in the mirror and just own that. When you own it, it doesn't own you. When you accept that you're choosing it, Now you're in control. You've got personal power, you're taking personal responsibility, and you can be accountable for it. Because at any time you could change it, but you don't know how to change it until you know how to own it. And if it's owning you, you feel powerless. You feel like the victim, and then you wear that like a badge of honor. Pain is there for a purpose. In the pain resides your purpose. When you own that pain, and you hold it, and you use it, you wield it, you mold it into your tool, your weapon, whatever you want to call it, now you're in control. But if you are falling prey to your own imagined disabilities, because we all have them. We all have stories. Again, the record that keeps playing in our head are all the stories we took on along the way of our life. Every single experience that we've had in this life is recorded in here. It's recorded in here. Cellular memory, DNA passed on, our family legacies, we repeat. And until you have the courage and you're vulnerable enough to recognize, to sit down with your thoughts and to really analyze that all of this that's happening for you, to you, with you, around you is a mirror, is a tool. It's up to you how you're going to use it. It's up to you to take the next step, to choose. Because awareness is the key, but nobody can make you do anything with that except for you. Only you have control over how you utilize that awareness. That's why you hear about people who have these huge epiphanies and they're like, wow, you know, my life changed. I did plant medicine and this awareness came to me. They either do something with it or they don't do anything at all. That shows whether or not the person has the dedication, the determination, the drive, the resolve, the willpower to push through to the greatness. So many people come into awareness and do nothing with it. And then others, they come into awareness and they see the golden nuggets and they use that and turn it into something. They alchemize it because that's what the pain is about. It's meant to be alchemized into something more powerful. If you don't take the next step to alchemize your life, take that key of awareness and alchemize it into something of your greatness, the only person to blame is you. But we're not here to play the blame game. We're not here to blame or to shame or to point fingers at anybody. We're the only ones who can do that to ourselves, and we're not really here to do that. You either do it or you don't. But don't get stuck in between. Don't allow yourself to get caught off guard by the things that are there to give you strength and power and resolve. So when you have pain, when you recognize pain is coming up, sit with it, confront it, feel it fully. You know what I say about it. You gotta feel it to heal it, because it ain't gonna go away any other way. If you're unwilling to feel your pain fully, it is gonna linger longer. And here's the thing, and I was reminded today, because the memory of my mom on the phone while I was standing in Villa Comunale with my dog, looking around at the beautiful Bay of Naples and around where I was living. And I said to her, I'm not ready to leave. This is my home. I have made a home here. And when that major death, that transition, that life change occurred for me, that was one of the hardest times of my life. And I didn't even know it. That 12 years ago, I was standing in the middle of my shit. I was standing like the lotus in the mud. I hadn't yet blossomed. And I feel like I just came through. I finally feel like the lotus who is blooming out of that mud. All these years, I didn't even know that I was going through a 12-year rebirthing. A 12-year resurrection. Hello. Easter time. Christ consciousness. This is the time, people. You need to reconnect to your Christ self, your Christ consciousness. You know, Jesus was trying to tell everybody that we are all children of God. He wasn't trying to proclaim himself as the only child of God. That was the key. He knew how to alchemize. He knew how to walk on water and not carry the weight of his own mind. He knew how to detach from the man-made constrictions and constructs that had been created to keep people in fear, to keep them enslaved, keep them in control. He understood that. But the only way through it is to go through it, right? And only you can do that for you. Nobody can do that for you. Nobody does anything to you that you don't already allow. And if someone is doing something to you that you're allowing, it's because of something internally that you are doing to yourself. And we all have to own that. I've had to own that in my own life. That what was occurring back in the day, as I stood there on the phone with my mom and I said, you know, this is so challenging because you know that I know God knew I was unhappy in my work environment. He knew how much I struggled, how much pain physically, emotionally, and mentally I was going through, all the stages of pain. And I wasn't doing anything about it. The reason things unfolded the way they did was because I was struggling and sticking it out. I was pushing through. I thought I had to go through it to get to something better. And that I know that the blessing without the bow was the way things unfolded. It doesn't make it right and it doesn't make it wrong. It's what ended up happening. And let me tell you right now, ego doesn't like it when someone else makes the change for you. And back then, my ego was powerful. It was so powerful that yes, I was pissed off and I sought justice and there was nobody there to help me. Maybe in some ways I blocked myself from receiving the help. I'm unaware of that. Back then it's hard to judge based on the circumstances because it was a foreign country and so many people pointing fingers and telling me to go elsewhere when essentially they were just blowing me off and not wanting to be bothered. But the truth was, because I didn't make the change was made for me. It was a divine intervention. And your heart and soul, when you're not doing what's right for you, if you have a major life purpose, it will only let you tolerate so much before it steps in from the outside in and it starts making things happen for you. It doesn't look like it at the time. It gets really dirty, ugly, uncomfortable because that's the discomfort of change. It's no longer familiar. Now let's see how you handle this. You're meant to be redirected because rejection is God's redirection. Take that one in. That when you feel rejected in any way, that's just God redirecting you. Putting you on the right path right now. It might not be when you thought you'd be ready. It might not be when you want to do it. But it's being done because it's meant for you, not to you. This is how you switch it from victim to victor. Is you recognize that it's never being done to you. It's being done for you. And that you may not see it in the moment and it's going to suck like hell. That's what we call hell on earth. But the truth is those are temporary moments to lead you to the greatness and the more rich, fulfilling times of your life that you're meant to experience and to live. Like, how else is life meant to be if it isn't in your greatness and your fullness? Like, this is why we're here, to live a rich life, right? Am I right or am I wrong? I mean, I could be crazy, but I know my personal experiences and how they've unfolded. And I've had many, like in your face, oh shit, that's humble. I've been served up. The largest slice of humble pie was 12 years ago, and I'm still like, wow. But just know, there are two ways to change things. Only two ways you can change things. Either you're forced to change, let someone else decide, or you have the intuition and the opportunity and the awareness that it's time to change, and you make the change. But let me tell you right now, that ego, it really doesn't like it when someone else makes the change for you. So you better be willing to make changes on your own. You have to have that courage and vulnerability to step up and make a change, even in the most uncomfortable situations, because otherwise it's just going to get more uncomfortable. The more we reject our discomfort, see, get this. When you reject your own comfort, you're dissing yourself. That's where the word discomfort comes from. It is, hello, words have meaning. Words have energy. They have power. And when you're dissing your own comfort, you wonder why you end up in dis-ease, because you're dissing your own ease. You're not allowing the energy to flow. And right now, with people experiencing extreme pain, even more so than normal. I've dealt with chronic pain all my life. I don't look like it because people say, well, you're so slender. Let me tell you, 12 years ago, I was dealing with my medical issue and I was eating like crazy, even more so than now. And people were looking at me going, you don't look so good. You look unhealthy. Are you eating? Are you okay? You look emaciated. You're like too thin. Guess what? Pain has a tendency to increase your metabolism. So anybody out there who's experienced this knows that no matter how much you eat, your body is trying to heal itself. So it speeds up your metabolism and it's trying to use the nutrients that you're giving it to feed and to heal. Inflammation is the body's way of healing. But see, most people don't see that because they think, oh, I'm swollen, I'm inflamed. They don't actually look at how they nourish themselves. See, nourishment starts up in here in the mind. And if you're not nourishing your mind well, then nothing you put into your body is going to matter. So everything you take in needs to be with love, needs to be something of a sacred devotion, a practice, a dedication, a reverence, a gratitude, a prayer. Everything should be considered a prayer that you're doing, because whatever you're doing, you're bringing to you. So whatever you put into you, first comes in. This is why the senses are so important. You got 5 senses. You take food in through your eyes first, right? Your mouth starts to salivate. You start to taste. You can smell. They evoke these other senses. They're all interconnected. You can't have one without the other. And if you do, you're imbalanced. And that's one of the biggest problems we have, is that people aren't tapping into their senses. The truth of food and nourishment comes from here. Are you reaching for something to numb out the pain? Or are you reaching for something to nourish your body? You have to start to listen to your own mind in the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you are behaving, whether it's habitual or it's conscious. Are you living a conscious life or are you living an unconscious life? Are you just going through the motions? Are you just letting life serve you and taking whatever it gives you? Or are you choosing what comes to you and what you give out? These are all important in this game we call life, because whatever you're doing is creating the life you're living. And you can be in denial all you want, but it isn't going to fix or solve anything. Unless you're willing to change and make the change for yourself, it will happen. It will happen. It's inevitable. Change is constant. And again, change is like death. And if you don't honor the process of transition, of change, whatever it is you're going through, whether it's in your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's an actual death, if you don't honor the process, it will come back to haunt you. If you don't feel it fully, it won't heal fully. So you really need to feel into whatever pain is arising and be willing to listen to whatever the message it's trying to deliver to you is. Because guess what? It's for you, and only you know what it's trying to tell you. It's about taking personal responsibility for how our minds feed and nourish everything we do. The pain that exists in your physical body is old programming. It's old stories. It's old recordings. It's old, whatever it is you were holding on to, it wants to go. And the reason pain erupts and gets even stronger is because it's time and it's trying to get your attention so that we can move that energy out. So this is spring cleaning time. This is the best time to detoxify, do a water fast, do a juice cleanse, eat light foods. Give your body the time and the ability to spend and focus the energy toward healing those areas of your body. We're all going through these physical DNA upgrades, light codes, all of it. For over a couple weeks now, I've been watching as I go to sleep. I see the lights coming in. I see the light coding being delivered. I feel it, and then I wake up the next morning. Some mornings have been more exhausting, more painful, more physically exhausting. But here's what's happening. The light's coming in to shine and to shed off all those old shadows, all those old cobwebs, to clear out, to get into the crevices, to really get at the root source of whatever that's been eating at you, pining at you, jabbing, poking, provoking you, because the physical pain is something that's always been up in here. It's just that you didn't want to let it go. You didn't want to deal with it. So the body took it on and said, we'll deal with this later. Okay, well, we'll carry that baggage with us. Because if we carry that, then at least we know it's still there. You know, it's like a good, trusty old friend. It's reliable. I can look forward to it. I can anticipate it. And because it's consistent, it gives me some significance too. You know, hey, oh yeah, my back today, you know, it's bothering me. You know, we have stories around why we have what we have and what we do. Check yourself, because I do regularly. Like, I don't want to tell the same story, like I have the same pains. You know, I'm noticing the changes in my body. I'm feeling more flexible. I'm feeling stronger. Today in class, I was reminded that 12 years ago, I realized that I've been carrying this in my back, in between my shoulder blades. If you pay attention to where you carry pain in your body, it's associated with different emotions. It's associated with different feelings. Heart and lungs are the grief. So deep grief, deep loss, if it's in the front, then it's something more immediate. If it's something that you've been carrying for a long time, it's going to end up in the very back part of your body. This is what the world sees. This is what you hide. This is what is more accessible, more readily available because it's more recent. This is something that you haven't addressed. And let me tell you, I felt it release today. When we were doing some exercises in class today, I said, oh my gosh. I knew when these memories started popping up a couple weeks ago that there was something relevant. And I'm sharing with you my personal experience that I didn't even realize the deep loss and the death that I felt and that piece of me that died 12 years ago when I lost my job. That's been lingering. You know, it lingered longer than it needed to. But it lingered as long as it was meant to. Because in my case, I realized that's serving my purpose. It always has been. That I had to go through 12 years of rebirthing myself from that old life, that it served me into this life. Hello, I wasn't happy about it. I missed the lap of luxuries that I had on the one hand. I don't miss the hostile work environments and the trauma of those types of those working situations. That served me up to where I'm at today. Yeah, there's been some struggles over the years. But you know, universe, spirit, soul, God's always taken care of me. I know better. So now I can do better. I'm able to serve on a better capacity because I'm aware of myself, that I can see it in everyone else around me. To me, that's a gift. I was served up a huge gift. But in the time that it was happening, when I lost that job, man, I was pissed. I was so upset. There wasn't anything you could tell me. I was like full on just seeking help, trying to find a solution, trying to find another job. And I was even in denial that I even lost my job and that I was blacklisted. I was in denial that anybody could even do that to me. I'm not saying I felt untouchable, but what I felt was I should have had more support. I felt like somebody could have spoken up for me, but the people in my office, they were all weak and they were only thinking of themselves, and they couldn't even defend themselves because I was the one speaking up for all of us. I went through the proper channels. I did the necessary things that you should do, but I got stonewalled and doors slammed in my face every step of the way. And that happens because I wasn't meant to be there. Sometimes you can fight to stay in a situation that you're not meant to be in. No matter whether it's right or wrong, the way you go about it is irrelevant. And people around you will try to make excuses and tell stories and tell you what you should or you shouldn't do, but it's not for them, it's for you. You know, I posted a video on my TikTok specifically addressing, you know, the boys club and the fact that it exists in the government and the military. And I've actually had people try to tell me that, no, that's not possible. No, that doesn't happen.
To me, that just shows me those are people who are denying it, cognitive dissonance, because it shows that they themselves are a part of that problem. Meaning that if they actually admitted it, they might have to admit too that they've seen it and looked the other way. That's what we call covering each other's asses. And I know that we've all done it at some point in our life, men, women, children, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But, you know, when someone tells you something happened to them, you don't dismiss it. You have to accept it and like honor it, not try to tell them that they're wrong. You're just re-victimizing the person and blaming them for something that you have no idea. Like, people tell stories all the time. Who are you to tell them that their story is not right? Because our society, our culture is all about canceling out anything you say. It's all about telling you that you're wrong. That's not right. Everybody has a voice. Everybody deserves to be heard. Even if you don't want to hear it, you can go elsewhere. That's the beauty of life. You always have a choice. It's not up to someone else to tell you you're right or you're wrong. That's up to you to decide. It's your life. It's your one opportunity to get it right and do it right by you. And the people around you will feel the effects. I'm here in service. I'm not here to take anybody down. Do I want to go back and rehash all that? Not really. I'll write a book about it. That'll be plenty for me. Because that served me to recognize the blessings and the gifts that came from it. I'd be stupid to say that it, you know, first off, that it didn't suck and it didn't hurt. But I'd also be stupid to say that it didn't serve me in the best way possible. Yeah, you know, that's life. We all have these experiences. We all have these opportunities. They're there for our growth, not for our death. Just because you die in one life doesn't mean you don't come back stronger in another. That's how I see it. See, for me, nobody's been able to kill my will. That's something only I could do. And if anything, it's really made me stronger, and I know that. And I experienced plenty of adversity during my career. Active duty Air Force, as a government contractor, even outside of all that realm. But you know, it's up to me to handle it better. To be the better person, that when you know better, you have a moral obligation to behave better. Because you know what karma really is? Karma is when you keep reverting back to your old toxic behaviors and patterns and routines. When somebody triggers you and you go right back to your old way of flipping out, flipping them off, dropping down to their level, you sink down in your vibration. If you can't maintain a steady, strong, high vibration, that's showing you still got something to work on. If someone triggers you and takes you out of your peace, you have handed over your power and the keys. And that's up to you to self-correct, not the other person. Just like you're not there to self-correct them. You can't self-correct for someone else. That's why it's called self-correct. You're the only one who can do better for you. Now you can demonstrate and be a leader and show up and lead by example, because that's what it's about. When you lead by example, you inspire others through your own inspired living. You're not there telling people what they should do. You're showing them how it's done. That's a true leader. That's a person who can still walk with pain in the face of adversity and still smile and know that they're going to come out on top in the end across the finish line. Because they got their eye on the prize and there is nobody going to take them off that path. They're not going to allow the distractions or the naysayers or the haters or whatever you want to call it. They're going to keep going because they know. They know their purpose, they know their weaknesses, and they know their strengths. And when a person knows their weaknesses and their strengths, you can't take them off their guard because they're owning it. And when you own it, you have power over it. It doesn't own you. And that's the key to life. So in this springtime cleaning, whatever you're doing, whatever you got to do, feel that pain, lean into it, learn from it, because it's there to serve you. This is the time to get your shit cleared up and cleaned out so that you resurrect and you can rewrite your story, you can be renewed, and really get on the path for you. It's for all of us, and the more people who take personal responsibility and are vulnerable enough and courageous enough to step into their power, the more it elevates the consciousness on this planet. And that's the key right there to Christ consciousness, is stepping right into it and being it, doing it, demonstrating it, exhibiting it. You be the lighthouse. You show people. You're the way shower. The truth seekers are one thing, you look for the truth. Be the truth. Stop looking for it. Just be it, because it's all right here in you. That's the key. We need to stop looking outside of ourselves and notice that it's right here all this time. Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, because guess what? Nobody's coming to save you or me. It's us. It's always been us. It'll ever always be us. And the only way to do this is to step into it. Stop looking for the saviors, the second coming, because you are the coming. I hear so many people talk about prophecy. If you believe it, then it's going to be real. And here's the thing. You get enough people to believe something and they can manifest it. They can manifest that shit. Think about that. So yeah, if it's written and you believe it and enough people believe it, you can manifest that. But if you turn around and say, I don't want to subscribe to it, I don't believe in it, I'm going to forge ahead and I'm going to focus on a vision that I want to experience. I want to create. That's where the power is, right there. It's time to rewrite history, people. Her story forward, his story together. Men and women, masculine, feminine, everybody else too. Stop with the labels. When you start recognizing that you are a human being, not a human doing, which a lot of the labels are really about what you do. They're not about who you are. They're not about your soul. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Own your power. Stop looking for validation and acceptance outside of yourself, because when you accept yourself, people will gravitate to you. Do you know why Jesus was so magnanimous? Because people saw his courage, his strength, and his ability to just say whatever, do whatever he needed to do. Was he perfect? I guarantee he wasn't. He was just like you and I. But he was in awareness of his strengths and his weaknesses, and he owned them, so nobody was able to hold him over him. And I'm powerfully passionate about all of this. So we're going to make a smoothie. This is something that really, really popped up for me today in the class. And it's really because, I'm passionate about the wisdom of the body. I'm always talking about feeling it to heal it. It's about tapping into your 5 senses. That if you master your breath, you become aware of your breathing, then you can slow down your mind enough. When you master your breath and you slow down your breath, you can master your mind because you witness it and you can become aware of all your patterns. The more in awareness of yourself, into me I see, the intimacy, the more you can master your life, because now you see how it's been running the show and now you can flip the switch and take control of it. Again, it's about ownership. And when you do that, you create this natural rhythm and flow, because when you surrender to the essence of your own soul, it will run the show for you. And then it's like, has anybody out there ever felt that? I just felt compelled. And it doesn't come from here. It comes from here. Think of the superheroes. They all wear their emblems and representations on their heart, right? They all stand there with the power stance. They all lead with their heart and the head follows. You see them in the it's all representative and it's symbolic of the truth of spirit. Spirit comes from within the heart. The heart is the seat of the soul. Hello. Nice to meet you. The arms, the hands, they're extensions of the heart and the lungs. They're here to present love, to live in love, to be love. That everything you do from this place, that's why, especially with those of us in the kitchen, everything made from love. Like, pay attention, check your mind. What are you doing and thinking when you're preparing foods? Are you pouring love and nourishing love bites, is what I like to say, into the food that you're preparing? Or are you in a negative space and now you're ruining, you're putting in the negativity and the poison in your own food? I try to remind people, whatever you eat, enjoy it. Even if you think you're going to cheat, enjoy it. Whatever you do, if you're going to cheat, enjoy what you eat. The importance of what's going on in here is that much more than anything you'll ever put in here. Because it's the negative self-talk, that creates the poison and the dis-ease within the body. And the reason that happens is because it doesn't register, it doesn't align with your soul. Your body is in resistance to it, which is why it registers it as pain, because it's a holding of a disconnect. It's a discomfort. It's a resistance to what you think and speak to what is really true in essence. It's a misalignment with the mind and the body. That's what pain all it is it's that misalignment. That the mind isn't being kind and the body is saying, I'm listening, but it doesn't sound right. But I will hold on to it because apparently it's important enough for you to focus on it. Especially when you say it enough times or think it enough times. So, let's make a smoothie. We have ginger, a little bit of coconut oil, my favorite Four Sigmatic, protein-based, plant-based. This is my favorite because it's vanilla flavored, tastes delicious. I could eat this sometimes. I'll take a spoon and just eat with it. We're gonna add some water. Life is too short to get caught up in all this negative self-talk. You deserve to be happy. You deserve greatness. Nobody can take that from you. It's only if you choose to keep telling the same story. And notice if you hear a certain voice in your head. You know, that's what happens. We hear a certain person's voice in our head from our past, from our childhood, that we admired and we believed that everything they said was like prophecy. And when we do that, we do ourselves a disservice. It tastes like, and a little bit of a angel food cake taste. That's a good way to describe it. All right, bananas, frozen and cold. This would be about the time Buddy comes in because Buddy loves when I'm doing bananas. I already prepped bananas the other day. So the past few days for myself, me being in my deep reflection, I have been processing this whole death rebirth. Four Sigmatic is the brand. Four Sigmatic is known for the mushrooms. Mushrooms are amazing sources of vitamin D. Yeah, so what I do is I cut off all the dark stuff and I give it to Buddy. Surprised he didn't come in here yet because I said his name. He is hanging out in front on the front porch and the birds are chirping. It's such a pretty day. I love when the weather is like this. We're going to take a walk here in a second. Last night, I made myself some Blue Lotus tea because my girlfriend gave me some of her Blue Lotus petals. Oh my gosh, it was so yummy. And it has so many amazing benefits. You should look up Blue Lotus tea. It's really good for gastrointestinal issues, which, as you know, I've talked about a lot. It's also good for the eyes. All right, let's see. My neighbor has a very loud truck. Anyway. So, 2 regular bananas. I'm gonna put this other one back in the fridge. Watch this. He's gonna be so happy. Give the Buddy some bananas. Your favorite Blue. Did you hear the toes? He didn't waste it. He's like, oh, it's my time. It's my time. Mama's giving me some treats. Now we want the frozen bananas. Oh, my freezer keeps freezing. Everything's, it's like a pool of frozen water in the freezer. Look at that one. It's time for me to, I was on the phone with my sister the other day. She just tried calling me FaceTime twice already. So the other day we were talking and I said, you know, I'm so over having fixer-uppers and hand-me-downs. I just want something fresh start, clean, new. There's a certain point in your life you stop and you realize you're done with old, outdated crap. And that doesn't just mean physical objects. I mean like outdated mindset. That's what the real cleaning we need to do is in our heads. You good boy. You're a happy dog, aren't you? Because Mama gave you a treat. You want to come say hi? Want to say hi to Buddy? Come here, baby. Come here. Let me see if I get a small enough one. Look at this guy. Say hi to Buddy. Say hi, Boo. Isn't he handsome? He's a handsome puppy. Look at, he's just not gonna let. Watch this. He's so attentive, don't you think? Puppy training.
Keep your eye on the prize, he said. I'm not looking away. When she drops it, I'm going to catch that.
Ready? Okay. Oh, he still dropped it. Oops.
All right. Now let's back up and out of the kitchen. Out. Come over here. Come on. Come on. Oh, now you dance.
Good boy.
There you go.
He's so cute. I'll show you again. Here. Did you get it? So for anybody who has never used this, 4 Sigmatic, plant-based protein with superfoods. Now, I also want to talk about protein because I mentioned this with a girl in the class that came today. She says to me, yeah, take a screenshot. Here, take a screenshot. Did you get a screenshot? There you go. So she asked me, how do I keep so slender? You have such a thin waist. I said, well, first off, I've always been fit and I've always tried to take care of my body. But the other thing was 11 years ago, 2010, is when I learned that I'm allergic to gluten and wheat. And I had to change up my entire diet, as many of you have already heard this story anyway. But the truth of the matter lies in protein. Your body doesn't need protein. When people talk about protein, they think in terms of meat, right? Protein, your body has to break down the protein. So your body ends up breaking down, which means you're degenerating it because it has to work harder to assimilate and separate all of these different components that make up the protein. So it's not building anything, it's tearing it down. And while it's tearing that down, that's degenerating, aging, and tearing down your body. So a breaking down is breaking down your body. Whereas you want building blocks, which are amino acids, which is why whole foods, plant-based food, high in amino acids. You get all the components of the amino acids so that your body has the building blocks to create the protein it needs. That's how you stay youthful and vibrant. And that's why you get a glow. And people say to you, how do you have such beautiful skin? I get that all the time. It's like, well, I eat as clean as I can. And I'm not as good as I used to be. But I'm also hard on myself too. But the truth of the matter is there's so many lies. Flip that food pyramid upside down, because the truth is you want building blocks, not breakdowns. And that really goes back to the industries that it supports. All you have to do is follow the money trail. Now get out of the kitchen, Mr. Boo. Out, good boy. Let's see, I want cherry. Today I think we'll do some cherry. I like cherries. Cherries are yummy. So, So any spring cleaning going on out there as far as what are you clearing out of your mind? Are you doing any fasting? I know somebody had asked me last week about doing a water fast. Is anybody interested in doing an online spring cleaning class like yoga? You can use hard coconut oil and melt it. It doesn't matter if you melt it or not, because once it goes in the blender, it's gonna break down. It'll get mixed in, and because everything's icy and cold, you're gonna still have a little bit of hardening. It just is what it is. Alrighty, so let's see. Vanilla stevia and some almond extract, because the almond extract brings out the flavor of the cherries, like amaretto. Alrighty. Oops. What else do we want? I've got ginger in there. Let's see how this tastes. Maybe I add some chocolate, maybe I don't. It's not important. Let's stick it on the blender now. Here's where cover your ears, it's gonna be noisy. And if it's too thick, which it might be a little thick, what I like to do is I will add a little bit of water. So it's all up to you how thick you want it. Oh, that's yummy. That's really good. I kind of want some chocolate though. I haven't done a lot of chocolate lately. Oh, maybe I did on Sunday for the spring equinox. Alrighty. I'm a happy smoothie person. Happy smoothie girl. Yummy. Ready? Ready for the infamous pour. And then I'm going to take Buddy for a walk after those. It's nice and thick. I'd like to figure out how some people make it look so good. Yay, isn't that beautiful? Look how thick that is. Do you like thick or thin smoothies? Hey, you know, preference. Tomato, tomato. Smoothies are meant to be smooth, which means they're thick. Milkshakes are meant to be milky, not so thick. It gets Lana's lick of approval. As you all know, I like. And then I've got to do coconut yogurt again. And this weekend it's time for booch. Time to brew the booch this weekend. And then I also have coconut chocolate yogurt. You know what? This is how I roll. When I crave a little chocolate, I got my coconut yogurt. So this is my coconut yogurt, chocolate coconut yogurt that I made previously. You know when it's made with love? When it's truly made with love, you taste it. And honestly, there isn't anything I make that I don't like. If I've ever made anything I didn't like, I'm sure it had a whole lot of going on in here. Because my food has always been delicious. If I do say so myself. Oh yeah, this has a really nice, like, cherry flavoring. Yeah, I gotta wash my hair. The other thing that people don't realize is if your diet is clean, you're not going to end up with any type of psoriasis, skin disorders, rashes. All of that's candida based. I mean, that has everything to do with the dairies, the whites, the glutens. Like, a lot of people don't understand that gluten is at the heart of anemia, the glyphosate and all that. Your body's not absorbing nutrients, hence anemia. Like, I was diagnosed with anemia years ago when I was first in the Air Force, which made a whole lot of sense. But then to say that, like, somebody said to me, well, I need to eat meat because I have anemia. What is the correlation with meat and the blood? Is it psychological? Because I get it. I can see where someone might think that if I eat meat because I need it for my blood, if you think about meat, it has blood. So how does that mean you think you're going to get some form of reinforcement for your anemia? It is not going to strengthen your blood. If anything, you want antioxidants to strengthen your blood. You want nutrient-dense foods. This is so freaking good. And then I'm going to do a little dab-a-doo of the chocolate poo. This is so delicious. It's a nice kind of back and forth. Chocolate, cherry. And chocolate and cherry are like the best combination ever. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. It's my experience too. I love it. Very, very good. Very, very good. Let's. You do half and half on your spoon. Does anybody else do this? It's how I roll in my kitchen. Yeah, good stuff. So any of you out there, tap into your body's wisdom. Recognize that it's springtime. We're all going through DNA upgrades. Light codes are pouring in to clear it out. That if you're feeling excessive pain right now, there's a reason. It's time to clear it out and clean it out. And if you've been carrying around old trauma, be willing to sit with it and try to heal it and deal with it. Because if you don't feel it and deal with it, you ain't gonna heal it. It's all about feeling it fully to heal it fully. So you gotta feel it, deal with it, and then you'll heal it. The more you suppress it and you push it down, the longer you do that, the longer it lingers. Pain in the body is your intuitive guidance system. It's your intuitive wisdom of your body. And when you are willing to lean into it and to deal with it, I guarantee you will heal it. But it's a conscious thing, not a, I'm going to ignore it. The more you ignore something, just like they say, what you resist will persist. Life is too short. We're here to live this one life and to enjoy it, to be in joy. Not to constantly struggle and strive and choose the suffering. We are all, if we are in pain, we are choosing it. And the moment you recognize that and you own that, it won't own you. Everything's a choice. So own your choices and don't let them own you. Be the victor, not the victim. Enjoy yourself a nice yummy smoothie. Get out and move your body. Interact with other people. Show them love. Give hugs, kisses, love. And I'm here rooting for you. And make sure to vote for me in the Yoga Warrior Challenge contest. And I'm in it to win it. You know, you got to own it. You got to stand up and stand in it. Lots of love to each and every one of you. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.